Well, good afternoon and thank you for joining us. I'm Jurnee Taylor. Let's jump right into the developing news from this morning. The city of Baltimore, Maryland, under a big magnifying glass. Moments ago, President Joe Biden gave remarks on a cargo ship that crashed into a bridge there in Baltimore. He's promising to send aid to the city as needed. In about 17 minutes, we'll have more from the exact moment this first happened. Well, here's a closer look at that dramatic video showing the incident as it happened. Moments ago, President Biden shared those remarks about that cargo ship that hit the city's Francis Scott Key Bridge. Now, plenty to unpack here, such as search efforts and what other officials are saying. We'll bring you those details again in 17 minutes. But back to our side of the world where we have meteorologist Simone Thomas. She joins us after a few showers moved through last night. Simone, rainy yesterday and a bit chilly this morning. What's next?
Well, we are going to see a slight warming trend as we continue through the week. Luckily, we missed out on the severe weather yesterday as a cold front moved through, but that cold front, of course, bringing cooler temperatures, a little bit cooler than normal for this time of year. But we are seeing mainly sunny skies. There are some passing clouds across north and northwest Arkansas because there's a mid-level disturbance off to our north in Missouri. But as far as central Arkansas, south Arkansas, mainly sunny skies continue through the afternoon. Temperatures still in the 40s for the northern half of the state, more of the lower 50s for the southern half of the state. 51 right now in the capital city. As we continue through the afternoon, looking to warm up some more of the upper 50s, even lower 60s, 60 even expected in the capital city with more of that sunshine through the afternoon. But the clear skies overnight are going to give us a very cold start to your Wednesday. We are tracking a potential for a frost freeze. I know this is pretty late in the season, so a lot of you that have probably already started your gardens are probably getting mad at me right now, but we'll talk more about what you can do, how to prepare for that, and what the rest of the week looks like later on in the show.
Well, today marks the start of early voting for a few runoff elections happening around the state. One of the big ones happening in Jefferson County, where two people are hoping to secure the seat of Pine Bluff mayor. That competition boiling down to current Mayor Shirley Washington and Representative Vivian Flowers. Folks in Jefferson County also being tasked with electing another new official. They'll be deciding on the Pine Bluff Council member for Ward 3. Glenn Brown, hoping to keep his role, will go against William Fales. And in Pulaski County, residents will choose the next Justice of Peace for District 9. Incumbent Judy Green and Tina Renee Ward will go head-to-head in that race. Now remember, only voters who live within Justice of the Peace District 9 can vote in this one, and only those who cast a Democratic or nonpartisan ballot. Additional information on polling sites and times can be found online. Just visit sos.arkansas.gov. It's a busy day for Governor Sanders in Russellville this morning, where she toured Crawford Elementary School. She also plans to join alongside other local officials for a ribbon cutting at a new cold storage facility. She'll wrap things up this afternoon with a tour of Arkansas Nuclear 1. And as she's out and about in Russellville, residents a bit closer to the Capitol are challenging Sanders in the Arkansas Learns Act. Lawsuits are being filed against the governor and the state's education secretary, Jacob Oliva. At the core of that suit, claims which say the Learns Act is unconstitutional because it bans students from being taught to accept a set of beliefs. Backing that claim, an AP African American Studies teacher at Central High School.
I knew I had 100 students showing up, and regardless of what the state did, those students were coming Monday, and they deserve an education.
Sanders responded to the lawsuit saying in part, quote, "We will not indoctrinate our kids and teach them to hate America or each other." Lawyers are hoping the lawsuit prevents the state from enforcing Arkansas Learns. In other news, Children's Hospital in Hot Springs is joining forces with the Morehouse School of Medicine. The new partnership hopes to bring in more diverse medical professionals. It's something that's been in the works for some time now, and doctors say it's a chance to address the diversity shortage in the hospital.
We have an opportunity here in Southwest Arkansas to make a difference in people's lives. And we are not making that access identification by race or ethnic identification. It's by everybody who doesn't have an opportunity to be served by somebody who understands their lived experience.
Over the next 10 years, the goal is to bring new graduates into the residency program. The initiative totals out to an upward of $100 million. In a THV 11 update, a former Arkansas police chief marshal is finding himself on the other side of justice as he sits behind bars this afternoon facing felony charges. The man you're seeing here on your screen is Jacob Lynn Gamble, and he previously served as chief marshal for the Wheatley Police Department. Little details on why state police arrested him on Monday. However, we do know his charges are related to perjury and theft of property. He is set to appear in court later today. We also have new details after an arrest was made for the person responsible for shooting a North Little Rock policeman. Officials say 16-year-old Antoine Sanders used a semi-automatic firearm to injure one of their officers in the leg. This all happening during an initial attempt to take Sanders into custody. He now faces multiple charges, including first-degree battery. As gun violence continues to be an ongoing cycle, one group in Pine Bluff is hoping to use a number of ways to combat the problem. A 3-day training is being held by Group Violence Intervention at the Pine Bluff Convention Center. Here, the organization is sharing ways to take action against the growing threat, hoping to get their message through to younger generations.
We've had kids as young as 15, 16 that have either been victims of gun violence or been arrested or charged for incidents of gun violence.
Those are words from the Assistant Chief of Staff for the 6th Division Circuit Court, who has witnessed the lifestyle firsthand. He says it will take a handful of community involvement to get ahead of the problem. Oral arguments are set to begin at the Supreme Court in yet another abortion case that could strip away rights for women across the nation. Natalie Brand reports from outside of the Supreme Court.
Demonstrators on both sides of the abortion issue gathered outside the U.S. Supreme Court Tuesday as justices heard arguments whether the Food and Drug Administration adequately considered safety when it expanded access to the abortion pill mifepristone.
FDA, do your job!
Used with another drug, mifepristone is the most common type of abortion nationwide. 2016, the FDA extended the window women can take the pill from 7 to 10 weeks. And during the pandemic, it said an in-person doctor's visit was not needed, allowing mail-order pharmacies to ship the drug nationwide.
Today represents a monumental moment where it will be decided just how far we are willing to go as a society to have abortion on demand at any cost.
Critics argue those changes compromise women's health.
In 2021, it eliminated the initial in-person visit based on data it says elsewhere is unreliable.
The government argues mifepristone is safe and that the case is a blatant effort to further restrict abortion.
The studies that FDA examined instead demonstrated that these changes, and it was an exhaustive examination, were safe.
Legal analysts say this case has far-reaching implications since it could impact the FDA's authority to regulate other prescription drugs.
Some justices expressed concern about undermining the power of the FDA.
Is it the only time any court has restricted access to an FDA-approved drug by second-guessing FDA's expert judgment?
Justices are expected to make a decision by early July. Natalie Brand, CBS News, the Supreme Court.
Also developing, an appeals court decided to push back the deadline for Donald Trump to appeal his civil fraud judgment. Additionally, his bond is being lowered to $175 million. However, his request for more delays in the hush money case was rejected, with that trial being set for April 15th. An unfortunate accident sparking national response. In 7 minutes, more information on what has everyone concerned over a bridge that came crumbling down.
And we've got that potential for that frost or freeze overnight, but the rest of the week looks fairly nice. I'll have that 7-day outlook coming up right after this break.